Blessings. Welcome in. I hope everyone is doing well. I am Mel. So I wanted to share a experience. It's very humbling. And I'm hoping it could give some hope in these trying times, in these changes, these transformations. And the theme, the topic is about the in-between and the significance of being in between. What is in between? In between states, in between realms, in between positioning of our movements as we navigate our realities, right? The in-between is not a bad state, although many fear and feel very uncomfortable within the in-between. I bring up the in-between because many of us reside within the in-between. And I understand this is getting a little bit poetic and tongue-twisty, but it is, because it's the state of moving from one state to another. It's a transitional state. It is the movement between conscious and unconscious awareness. It is the movement between what we consider 3D and 5D, 6D, 8D, however. But there are spaces that gift us the opportunity to create and tend to what we wish to manifest somewhere down the line. In our Western world, we are being offered quick solutions all the time. And understanding the in-between, the transitionary state of being, you will recognize that nothing is a quick fix. It takes time to transition from higher realms into this realm of third dimensional reality, right? For the manifestations. Some of us experience very quick manifestations. They're smaller in their impact, but they are manifestations nonetheless. So the in-between is a state that I'm very familiar with because I feel like I'm always in it. I am always transforming. I am always changing. I am always shifting. I am always moving. It's learning the dance of this energetic flow. We start to learn to move in a fluid, liquid nature, yet it moves into a gaseous state. And I'm using this terminology to create more of an emotional interpretation and relationship, because that's the only way that I know how to translate the energy. So, to share my experience of this transitory state, recognizing there are many places and realms that reside within the in-between. It's in between realms. And there are entities, there are deities, there are beings that govern those spaces, so to speak. They are protectors, they are guardians, very much like so we are here to protect and steward the earth, the inhabitants of earth. Mother Gaia's children, we are brothers and sisters too, and we are working to help those in order to flourish. So what I was being shown this morning when I had spoken to my higher self, my source, my team, my many various aspects of being, the human wanted to ask questions of, well, I'm not creating, I'm not producing, I'm not making anything that's creating beneficial change. So my universe comes back and mirrors to show me, but you are, my dear, you are. There are many of us that are the stewards of the in-between. We are the psychopomps. We are those that help others transition, whether that's through death, through life, doulas, gatekeepers, pathfinders, interdimensional spaces we have keys and access to. And I know there are many of us out there. And it's frustrating because we reside in a reality that says you need to produce, you need to create. If you're not creating, you're not living your life, you're not living your destiny, you are insignificant. But are you? Because if you understand the laws of physics, if you understand the laws of the universe, anything manifests within this plane of existence, above and below, must transition through various stages of that said manifestation. And that takes time. So then we start to play with time. But how do you start to work outside of time and recognize that you are working within time, out of time, and you are altering both past, present, and future, and experiencing all three simultaneously and parallel to the existence in which you are currently bickering and moaning, I'm not creating. So when I express this concern of where am I going next, I recognize what I'm doing behind the scenes, what I'm doing in the between, what we consider as the etheric, the astral, the higher dimensions, wherever we are traveling. And Spirit then showed me, and I'm going to use Spirit because we can utilize many, many different names and definitions. They're all the same. They're all one because they are all you. And you are God. You are Source. There is no separation in between. The in-between is the unification period. It is the unification of solidifying all that is coming, and yet to be, and what has always been. It's very paradoxical, but I'm starting to go off tangent. So I was shown, well, Spirit, I'm not creating. Oh, but you are, dear. You feel like you're not creating in this third dimensional reality so that other people can see what you're doing, that you're providing for other people, that you are creating safe spaces, that you are showing love, that you are doing this. No. But what about everything else? What if it's not always about the humans? What if it's not always about your fellow brothers and sisters and star beings? There are other many beings on this plane of existence, this planet, and planes beyond this existence. By you residing within the in-between, you are being offered and gifted the opportunity to work with various spectrums of light and love and of God's source, the spectrum of sound in its various manifestations. So my universe had me go and tend to my garden, to my plants, to my flowers, trimming, pruning, repotting, watering, giving my love to these other beings and species. And I've spent all morning, and I was at great peace because I was helping nurture and care for the other beings in the other realms that are just as significant and substantial to the growth and evolution of humankind and the planet herself. And then I went out and I tended to the cats, to my brood. And I sat and I spoke and I played and I fed. And here's the thing, my point is, it's not about like, oh, I'm doing all these things. No, I'm trying to show a different way. In our Western world, we are told we are meant to be big, broad, and constantly providing content. And look at me, this is what I can offer. Hey, here's the flashing lights. Let's do this, let's do that. I can give you something. But can you, without depleting yourself? The whole theme was, there are areas, there are realms, spaces, dimensions, and worlds that reside beyond what we perceive here. And many of us live in those spaces. We interact with the species and beings that are in those spaces. The energies, they communicate to us. Our families reside in there. And we are stewards, we are protectors, we are guardians of those places. And without those in-betweens, we could not keep harmony and balance between the realms of existence. Constantly trying to unify disparities, discordances, oppositional forces. So there is a great need for those who resonate with the idea of being in between, always transitioning, always transforming, always dying, resurrecting, constantly going through the shifts and changes and growing, evolving. And it's a natural, self-organizing energy that gathers everything in which it encounters and consumes, yet emits a fuller, more powerful, abundant seed that will benefit all. It's not just about, well, am I going to make it as a poet? Am I going to make it in this world? Every day I question, I'm doing all this work. I see what it does in the in-between and all the other realms. But as humans, we focus so much on the here and now in this realm, and then we feel like we're not actually creating at all. But it's you, your presence alone, your love, your essence of just wanting to provide and nourish growth, evolution, even if it's in the most smallest space, the smallest seed you are just caring and taking and nurturing will grow into the largest soul tree that will benefit a long lineage of beings, of species, however you wish to identify. So I just wanted to share those thoughts, those ideas, and I hope it's helpful for those that are constantly going through these transitional battles internally, because we think we go through a shift and then we find a plateau and we can reside in one plane. But some of us are not meant to reside in one plane. That's part of being multi-dimensional. You're here, you're there, now you're over here, now you're in the past, now you're in the future. But we're all here right within this now. I'm experiencing this and I'm experiencing that. And it's constantly plugging in, plugging out. But what you're doing at the same time is gathering soul aspects of your soul tree. And that soul tree comprises many various consciousness that have taken form and many consciousness that currently do not have form and never had form. So the interactions can get a little wonky and finicky, but you learn to navigate as you listen to the guidance of the internal source. And not be swayed no matter how offhand, outworld, crazy it sounds. Because it's your subjective reality. It is your interaction and intermediate connection of transitional spaces that allows you to move from conscious to subconscious to unconscious. You are mastering yourself, not reality or anyone else. You are mastering self. And the more that you can shift and move through the in-between spaces, you start to see what you've been creating, what you are creating, and what you're meant to create, what you are meant to shift, change, transform, transmute, purify, and heal. And it doesn't have to be daunting. It's the evolution of soul. It's not about anybody else but you at the end of the day. What you do for self and your transitions, your transformations, your healing, your understanding, your expanded awareness, and going deeper into self to rectify the disparities and oppositional forces of self allows you to evolve the whole soul tree. And anyone else that is connected to your soul group that inherently is connected to your root system will also be able to access that information, those tools, those key codes, that wisdom, those fire letters. So when we sit there and say, well, I'm not working as a collective, you are, even though you may be working individually, because there is no separation. We are all one, working harmoniously and symbiotically together in our own unique, individuated ways to create a better future for all creations and the generations of those geniuses to come. So I'm going to leave that there. I hope this message finds you well. I hope everyone is doing well. I send you much love and many blessings on your journeys, forwards, backwards, inwards and upwards, and diagonally. May you find yourself back at the center each road that you travel. Take care. Bye.